Reviews. I'm Captain Mal.
And I'm Weapon 2. I'm a bioorganic computer virus designed to kill robots.
What's your model number?
No.
We're bad at it. And today we're bringing you our official review for Terminator Dark Fate. So Terminator Dark Fate is the 6th installment of the Terminator franchise. And your correct question would be, so this is Terminator 6. Not really, because so Terminator 1 happened, which is a great movie. Terminator 2 happened, which is one of the greatest action movies of all time.
Yes.
And then Terminator 3 happened, which was Terminator Salvation happened, which was a valid attempt at telling a different perspective of the Terminator story. That didn't do well. So then Terminator, Genesis happened?
I believe so.
And then that was garbage. And so now we're doing Terminator Dark Fate. And they're saying for Terminator Dark Fate to forget everything after Terminator 2, aka the last good one. And this is now the true successor to Terminator 2. This is Terminator 3. Even though Terminator 3 was the successor, and then after that, Genesis was kind of, and the Salvation was kind of. So, hey, you know what's funny about timelines? Fuck them. Nobody cares. Alright? So Terminator Dark Fate is now the official sequel. James Cameron is back producing. And so, we're going to keep the first part of this review spoiler free. I have a lot of shit to say. Weapon 2. Explain this movie. Was this a good movie?
Not a very good movie. Now, what this movie does is it's all about the callbacks. This movie is jam-packed with callbacks. Every single thing they could think of into making this thing a callback is jammed into this movie. It has some cool action scenes. I mean, if there's anything that's kind of good about this movie, is there's a lot of action at parts of it. The plot is not good. I guess if you want to go see a Terminator movie that reminds you of all the other movies in every single way as possible and has some fighting and not a whole lot more, that's what the movie is to me. How about you?
So this movie was really interesting to start, because again, no spoilers. The opening scene of this movie was awesome. It was really good, right? And I was like, holy crap. I remember specifically, and I'll talk about what this was in the spoiler section. After the opening scene, I leaned into this man, and I was just like, this movie needs to end right now. Because that was awesome, and they're just going to fuck it up.
Yep.
Hey! You know who has 2 thumbs and was right? This guy. So this movie was interesting because while you're watching this movie, it had so much nostalgia and so many throwbacks. All it made me want to do was come home and watch a good Terminator movie.
Right.
I just wanted to pop my Blu-ray of Terminator or Terminator 2 and watch it on the old TV for free, because I already paid for those, because those are good Terminator movies. Instead, I paid $18 to go watch this fucking thing. Okay, so the premise of this movie is, hey, we're sending back a Terminator to kill the savior of mankind, and the human resistance is sending back a Terminator kind of augmented human to stop the Terminator from killing the savior of humankind. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, because that's any Terminator movie ever. Ever! They do almost nothing original in this movie. Okay, yeah, it had a lot of action.
Yeah.
Every action sequence is boring. I didn't give a flying fuck about anything happening because I cared not about any character on screen. Seeing Linda Hamilton was cooler than I thought it would be because she had the best lines. She had some pretty good one-liners in there.
Yeah.
I did not care about any of the new characters at all. And that's because that was shitty writing, right? The writing was really bad, so I didn't care about them at all. Seeing Old Man Arnold was cool until they explained what he's doing, which was the dumbest fucking thing in this movie that I cannot wait for the spoiler section to talk about because that made 0 sense.
Yeah.
And completely took me out of anything his character was doing. The only thing this did was answer 1 question or 2 questions that I actually had in watching the trailers. And it gave me an answer. One of the answers was really cool. The other answer was kind of eh. And, but just, okay. The CGI, terrible. God-awful CGI. How come the CGI in Terminator 2 in 1992 looks better in this movie? I've been bitching about this movie for months. Watch our trailer reactions, watch our last couple of podcasts. I just bitched continuously about this movie. I wanted to like it. Every concern I had about this movie was correct. This was terrible. The fucking CGI was so every part of the CGI, okay, there's a certain point, like, even shit that shouldn't look good looks bad. There's a car chase and an SUV is like spinning around and crashing, and the tires have gone off, and so like they're spinning and sparking. That looked fake as fuck. That looked terrible. It looked gross. At one point, they're hanging over the edge of like a waterfall or like a dam or whatever, and like they pan and do a white shot of the water coming out. Fake as fuck. Everything looked fake. Nothing in this fucking movie looked real, which I'm sorry, after a certain amount of time, just takes you right out of the movie. Coupled with the fact that the writing was, I don't know, porn quality in terms of like how much logical sense that it made. The character development was not there. The acting, I guess they tried, sure, but if you don't care about what's happening in the movie, it doesn't fucking matter. Here's the problem. I'm not even really mad. This isn't even like the worst movie. Hellboy was worse. It just was, right? The problem is, this is a really, really good franchise, right? And I wanted this to be good. Now, I think I realized what the problem is. This concept lends itself to one movie.
Right.
The fact that we got even a really good fucking sequel out of it is kind of amazing. Yeah. This is not the premise to which a franchise is built upon. It's a really, really cool story. Our boy General Thaddeus said it in the last episode of the World's Greatest Podcast. He just loves this story. This is an interesting story. But it's a story that is 1-2 movies max. And why does it feel recycled every single time we get a sequel? Because there's not a whole lot new you could do with it. The best thing you could do to change it up is Terminator Salvation, where we're seeing the future.
Yes.
And that wasn't as cool as it should have been.
Yes.
Sorry, I've been bitching.
No, that's fine. No, I agree with you. You have to take it somewhere else. The coming back in time to save the person who's supposed to be the person responsible for the rebellion against the robots. You can't keep doing that over and over again. You have to move on to something new.
And the big change, and we'll get into it in the spoilers, is that when you see this in the trailer, it's not John Connor, it's a different person. And you're like, is this shocking? Am I supposed to be shocked? Am I color me shocked? Is that what's happening right now? Because I wasn't.
No.
It was dumb.
No, it was a different person.
Cool. Same concept. Same movie. Exact movie. Right. So let's wrap up the spoiler-free section. I think this was dumb as fuck. I'm officially over this franchise. It's done. I don't care about any other movie that is made, and this is bombing apparently, so it's not going to get a sequel, again, just like Genesis. Right. So I don't know what they're going to do moving forward. I don't want them to do anything. I want them to officially bury this. We got 2 good movies, and we got 4 shitty movies. 1 okay movie. And just Terminator 1, Terminator 2. Franchise stops there. It's dead. Don't watch anything past that.
They'll wait 10 years and they'll make another movie.
Do not go pay money for this. Do not go watch this. If you have a Terminator itch, watch T1 or T2. Even watch the fucking Terminator TV series that was on Fox starring Summer Glau and Lena Headey. That was better than this movie. And that wasn't very good. So, do you agree with all that?
I agree with everything that you're saying. I didn't hate it. I just didn't really like it that much. So I think you're feeling way strong about this. To me, it was just boring and as cliche as you could imagine any movie would be. They tried every callback they could think of. They tried to jam pack into this thing. So to me, I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was a horrible movie. I thought it was a boring, just not very well done, horribly cliched movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
For the record, I didn't hate it. I'm offended at its existence. I feel like there's a difference.
Okay.
So, that'll end it for the spoiler-free section. Don't go watch this movie. Save yourself the money. Wait till it's for free sometime, like on Saturday afternoon on Netflix. Okay. Spoiler alert. I want to get into the opening scene of this movie real quick, because that was the only really, really good part about this. This movie opens, before the opening crawl is done, like the 20th Century Fox now, before the intro, the title sequence, we're showing the footage of Terminator 2, where Sarah Connor is in the fucking mental institution, where she's talking about Judgment Day, which is great, because you're hitting me with the nostalgia, you're showing me one of the best scenes of the best movie of this franchise, right? You're getting me into it. And then it talks about how she changed everything, how they stopped it, right? They saved everyone. And so the only time the CGI in this movie was good, it cuts to her and John on a beach somewhere, right? She's just sitting there at a table watching John talk to some girl up at the bar. And the de-aging was great. Like, it was young Sarah Connor, and it was like, for a second, you only see young John from the back, and I was like, oh, well, he's not even going to turn around.
Yeah, it's not even going to be him, it's some other actor.
No, and then he turns around, and it's totally him. And I was just like, holy shit. That is, like, for a second, I forgot it was even CGI. I was just like, it's them. And I'm like, oh, well, it can't be them, because that was like, 20-something years ago. And that was right. And then all of a sudden, freaking Terminator, T-800 Arnold, young Arnold, walks up and just straight blasts John in the chest with a shotgun. Mm-hmm. My jaw was on the floor. Yeah. My jaw was on the floor. He freaking just face plants Linda Hamilton. I don't know why you don't kill her too. But, he makes sure he double taps John because he saw Zombieland. And then he just turns and walks off.
You know why he did? Because he's just there to complete the mission.
There to complete the mission. Mission accomplished.
Yep.
My jaw was on the floor. I thought that was amazing, and that's when I leaned over and I was like, this movie just needs to stop now.
Right.
From there, nothing made any fucking sense. So, okay, here's my question. I know we're going to get into timelines and time travel and all that kind of shit, so this tends to get wonky anyway. Now, my question is, if she had prevented Judgment Day in 92, how in the hell did another Terminator come back and then kill him? That feature was done. It was stopped. It was prevented.
Right. Except for reasons.
Thank you! That's all I needed. Reasons. It didn't make any sense. So then what ends up happening...
Here's the thing. What if that Terminator had been here for a while?
Huh?
He had been chilling. He was in reserve.
He was gelling like a felon.
He'd been hanging out. He didn't just drop out of the sky.
No.
And then he's, you need me now?
My turn.
Okay, I'll take it.
I'm third string. You mean the starter and the backup wins out?
Yeah, put me
in the game, coach. So stupid. It made no sense. So then, now what happens is we're on an alternate timeline where essentially the exact same thing happens. It's just not called Skynet. What is it called?
Something else. I don't even think they said.
No, they said what it was called. It was just stupid. It was just stupid.
Legion.
Legion.
Sure. Yeah.
Legion happens. So then Sarah Connor shows up to save the new chick and like the new Terminator chick, and she doesn't know anything about Legion, and they don't know anything about Skynet. And I'm just like, I really feel like this isn't the way timelines work. Like, I feel like that's not the way they would be existing on two separate fucking tracks, two different timelines. They would not intersect this way.
Well,
but I'm not a physicist.
I was trying to figure this out the whole time too. This is what I said. So you send somebody back from the future. They change a future. They're part of the new past.
Yes.
So they're still there.
Branching off now.
Yes. So there was some branching going on. That's the only way you can explain it. And okay, that makes sense in a way of looking at it.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So that happened.
But then how did the Terminators of the new future send somebody back? And how are they existing? Because like if she stopped Judgment Day completely, how the hell did anything bad happen? And how did they send the same? How did they have the same T-800 model in a future where Skynet's not a thing?
They didn't have the same T-800.
That's the one that killed John.
Right, I'm telling you, that one came back a while ago. Before.
What the hell was he doing?
Hanging out.
Playing checkers?
Yes, hanging out, waiting. There's probably some more somewhere. Okay, but they're okay because they're part of the old past now. Okay, now.
No question.
Okay.
No question. Okay. So let's assume Skynet sends back multiple Terminators, knowing that they're not going to get them in one shot. They send one back to go kill Linda Hamilton when she's pregnant. They send they're like, hey, just in case that one fails, we're going to send this new T-1000 awesome model that we only apparently have one of to kill him when he's, let's say 10 years. That'll make sense, right? Then we're going to send another one, another old model, in case that fails.
Right.
And then
the old reliable
that failed.
Right.
Just in case that happens, let's send a few more. And we're just going to have them chilling.
Right.
And they will arbitrarily...
Just in case.
They will arbitrarily come to kill John.
Yes.
Now, why wouldn't you send all of them at the same time? Do you think Kyle Reese could have stopped 6 Terminators?
You don't want to overdo it.
Oh, sure! That's exactly what it is. Okay.
That's for the future. Overdoing things is for the future.
Fine.
Okay.
This is not even the most offensive part of this movie. This is the second biggest thing that annoyed me. The biggest part of this movie that annoyed the shit out of me is so, like, we find out, like, there was actually a good question. So, my question going into this in the trailer was, where the fuck's John Connor? Why is Sarah Connor mad at Arnold when at the end of T2 they ended on good terms? So, they explain all that, right?
Exactly.
So, I was like, cool.
Perfect sense.
I was like, cool. Other shit doesn't make sense, but I'm aboard with this.
Right.
So, but then I was like, how does she know to show up on the bridge to save the new chick, right?
Because he's been telling her to.
Right. And so we find out she's been getting text messages Sure. They tell her when the new Terminators are going to pop up, because he knows. Makes sense. Sure. But anyway, so a lot of shit happens that's not important at all, and then they show up at Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, a Terminator T-800, and it's the T-800 that in this timeline killed John Connor. So
Cyberdyne Model 101.
We got you, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Weapon 2.
Yeah.
After he completed his mission and murdered John Connor, would you explain to the world's greatest nation what he's been doing with his free time for 30 fucking years?
Well, here's what happened. With the destruction of Skynet, he was like Pinocchio. He wanted to become a real boy.
Yeah.
And so he decided was not under the control of Skynet.
Right.
He started having feelings and remorse for the transgressions, and all the bad he had done, and he wanted some I don't know. He wanted to make up for it. So he found some people that needed some help.
He
wanted redemption.
A chick who was in an abusive relationship?
Yes.
Because, hey, apparently Terminators are attracted to chicks with daddy issues.
They are. Yes. They are. and he raised, what's his son's name?
I don't care.
Anyways, he raised his son, and in I don't know what kind of weird relationship he had.
So he marries a chick, saves her from her.
No one said they were married.
Okay. He hooks up.
He's a robot. He can't marry anybody.
Okay. He hooks up with a chick who has a kid, and they live together, and he raises the kid as his own.
Right.
Apparently, there's no physicality because Sarah brings up she didn't notice the fact that you're 400 pounds. He's like, our relationship is not physical. I'm like, sure, why would it be? So he just starts a life for himself, and because of reasons.
He starts doing drapes.
Yeah, he starts interior design.
Carl's interior design. So he has a good eye for design.
If you are just watching this because you don't care and you haven't seen the movie and you're just in the spoiler section, we're not making a word of this.
No.
This is legitimately what happens in this stupid movie.
He has a conversation about why he was frustrated by some of his clients wanted to put solid color drapes in their children's bedroom, and he decided, you can't do that. You have to put balloons or bright colored animals.
And that's the conversation he had. And it was at this point when part of my soul died. And I leaned over to him and I was like, we were supposed to laugh at that. And he was like, oh, I know.
No, there's just nothing funny about it.
The only thing we laughed at was this movie. Like, throughout it. We were just, like, talking shit the entire time and, like, kind of heckling it. And it wasn't good. No, this was stupid. This was a stupid fucking movie. Genesis was better.
I mean, they wanted to make callbacks so much that the new Terminator type robot that we don't know what it is, maybe someday they'll tell us what
they said it just
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is they want callbacks so bad it would separate into two different robots. Yeah. One that looks just like the T-800 skeleton underneath the skin, and the other one that looks like the T-1000 doing stuff. Yeah. And they kept doing that over and over and over again.
And in watching it, I assumed that maybe while it was separated, either half was weaker, but that didn't seem to be the case at all. So I'm like, why wouldn't it just be separated?
No, this is why they did it, because they wanted to show both.
Yeah.
Both of them.
So at the end of the movie, when they're making their stand and they're in the kill box, and it shows up, and so it has Arnold and then the new Terminator chick. I expected him immediately to switch and do both, so it's 2-on-2. Mm-hmm. But then he fights them 1-on-1 for a while, and I'm like, why? Because was he weaker? And then he does it, and then no, he's stronger, clearly. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why didn't you lead with that? Why wasn't that the first thing you did? And then what's funny is so Arnold has shit to do. The female Terminator has shit to do in this final battle. Sarah has shit to do. Mm-hmm. But then the main chick, who the big twist of this movie is we find out she's not pregnant or going to be pregnant with the savior of mankind. She is the savior of mankind.
That is correct.
And that was a holy shit moment that nobody in our theater gave a shit about.
Right. I mean,
but in the climactic battle, all she's doing, this is what the director's doing. Okay, there's lots of crazy shit happening. There's multiple Terminators. They're all fighting. Sarah's shooting shit. You're going to stand there and look intense. She's looking tense into the camera because you got fuck all to do.
Yeah. But I think I realized what was going on before their holy shit moment. Oh, yeah. The minute I saw her show up, I was like, oh no, she's no kid. I mean, that was even before, it was like, oh, the reveal.
Weapon 2, are you
Yeah.
saying the writing in this movie was thinly veiled and
Yes.
really, really poor?
Yes, that's exactly
Okay,
what I'm
makes
saying.
total sense. So, hey, I have nothing else to bitch about, do you?
I don't have anything to say. I mean, it was just a horribly cliched, boring movie.
The action was boring to me. Even the action was boring to me. Nothing about this.
Some of
plan-
the action was okay.
No, it
Some
wasn't.
of it was okay to me.
No, to me
Yeah,
it was
to
all.
me it was okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But don't go watch this movie. Don't go watch this movie. It was just watch Terminator 2.
Yes.
And as always, thank you for joining us on this episode of the world's greatest news and reviews. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe.
Peace.